Alright, welcome back. Today we're going to be starting on a brand new unit today, Unit 7, called Independence in Latin America. And the big focus of this unit is going to be in, of course, Latin America. So we're going to focus on South America, Central America, and the Caribbean. Today, the focus of our attention is going to be on this island here, which is called Hispaniola. And today we know this island is Haiti and the Dominican Republic. We're going to talk about how Haiti became Haiti. And all right, welcome back. We're going to start on Unit 7 today, which is going to focus on independence in Latin America. So the big focus of today is, of course, going to be Latin America. And what makes up Latin America are the countries in South America and in Central America and Mexico. The big focus of today is this small island here, which is called Hispaniola. And this island is shared by two countries, Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And today we're going to spend some time talking a little bit about how Haiti became the country of Haiti. So, by the early 1800s, the demand for change was growing in Latin America. Around the same time period, the French Revolution was really hitting its height. The French, they controlled colonies in Latin America, but it wasn't just the French. The Spanish, the Portuguese, the British, even the Dutch had territories in Latin America. A lot of this demand for change was due to a number of things. One of the first big reasons was there was growing tensions among the different ethnic and social groups living in Latin America. Latin America is one of the most diverse areas of the world. We have Europeans from Spain, Portugal, Great Britain, France, but we also have African slaves and we have natives that are living in the region. And these diverse populations, they're starting to mix. Also, adding to this growing demand for change are the reforms that are imposed by some of the colonial authorities, like the governments of Spain and Portugal and France. A lot of Enlightenment ideas are really starting to be shared and spread throughout Latin America. And a lot of the people that were residing in this region, they saw the American and French revolutions take place, and they have grown to be pretty inspired. And they were wondering, if a revolution can happen in those areas, why can't a revolution happen here? So several new nations began to emerge from this colonial domination. And that's really what the focus of today is going to be talking about. So the very first territory, or the first Latin American territory that's able to break its ties with Europe is Hispaniola. And more specifically, Saint-Domingue. Saint-Domingue is located on the western half of the island of Hispaniola, that island that we just looked at on that last slide. And this is an area that is under the control of France. And this island was one of France's richest possessions, and it was so lucrative due to sugar exports. This sugar exportation made the French a lot of money. However, there were some downsides. This industry was built on slave labor. Over in France, there were a lot of great things taking place during the French Revolution. And the French Revolution had a great impact on the island of Hispaniola. For one, the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, a document that gave men the right to vote, it was also applied to this island. So all of the French settlers that had moved from France to Hispaniola, they were given the right to vote. But so were some of the Africans and natives that were already living on the island. And this really upset many of the French settlers. And they did whatever they could to prevent these other men from voting. A term that we're going to look at quite a bit as we talk about independence in Latin America is mulatto. And what a mulatto is, it's a person of mixed African and European ancestry. And mulattoes, they were included in the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen. So they were now granted this new opportunity to vote. A leading figure that we're going to spend some time looking at is a gentleman by the name of Toussaint Louverture. And Toussaint is a former enslaved African. And his upbringing, he grew up on a slave plantation, and his slave owner was a little bit more progressive than the other slave owners of that time. And this slave owner allowed Toussaint to learn how to read and write. He had a pretty solid educational background. He's a very ambitious figure. He led a group of mulattoes and slaves in a bloody revolt against the French settlers who were preventing them that right to vote. His political and military actions made him a national hero on the island. Toussaint Louverture gained the attention of Napoleon, who was ruling France at this time. Napoleon grew very worrisome of all the chaos that was taking place in the island, so he sends a French general to attempt to take control away from Toussaint. Battle ensues, and they battle for a few months before both sides agree to sign an armistice, or they agree to stop the fighting. Very shortly after this armistice is signed, France breaks the agreement, and they go against their word. They end up arresting Toussaint Louverture and put him on a ship and send him to France, where he is put in prison. He eventually dies later on within that same year. Over in Hispaniola, however, the revolution is still in full force. The fight for independence continues. And by 1804, the revolutionaries of Saint-Domingue declare their independence from France. They are the first Latin American country that's able to declare their independence from a European nation. With their newfound independence, they rename the nation Haiti. At the same time, another kind of independence movement was beginning to form in Spain. By the early 1800s, Spain controlled most of Latin America. They controlled present-day Mexico, a large portion of Central America, and South America. The Portuguese controlled a huge portion of the colony Brazil. These colonies, they grew in tremendous wealth and prosperity, and this was due to a number of improvements that were made by Spanish kings. They really wanted to develop these areas, not only to make the areas better, but in order to make trade a little bit easier, thus making them more money. This newfound wealth gave the natives greater access to education, thus giving them more opportunities to be exposed to new ideas. A lot of the people living in the region started reading about the Enlightenment thinkers, ideas that were brought about by John Locke and Rousseau and Voltaire. Also, they started to hear about the revolutions that were taking place over in France and the United States, and they started thinking, if a revolution could happen there, what's to stop a revolution from happening here? All right, that'll be it for notes today. Once you have that all done, you can get your notes put away, and we'll see you in class next time. Have a good night.